part of the training in ICANotes, and we're going to be going through a webinar today. This webinar is for eligible providers pursuing Stage 2 Meaningful Use Attestation for 2014. To be eligible for Stage 2, you must have successfully attested for Stage 1 in 2 prior years. If you have not already completed 2 years of Stage 1, then you need to follow Stage 1 requirements for 2014. For any additional guidance, please call our Meaningful Use Consulting Partner, Attest Easy. Their phone number is right here on the screen, and it's also in the Meaningful Use Guide that you can find right on our website. Okay, I'm going to start the meeting by reading this disclaimer that's on my screen. ICANotes is not certified to instruct eligible providers on how to attest for meaningful use. Our support department is unable to provide any answers to questions regarding definitions or interpretation of the requirements outlined by CMS. For expert assistance, including one-on-one guidance through the complexities of attestation, we highly recommend contacting our consulting partner, Attest Easy, at this number here. Okay. Let me go ahead and show you a few things first. If you go to our website and you look under the For Users tab under Video Tutorials, at the very bottom of this page you'll find the Stage 1 and Stage 2 Meaningful Use Guide. You can print this out. It's got very explicit instructions and screenshots, and I would highly recommend you all print this out and follow these instructions to guide yourself through the program on how to enter the data for meaningful use credit. We're also going to be looking at the patient portal today. You have to ask us to have the patient portal activated for your account. You can call our support department, or you can send an email to ticket@icanotes.com requesting the portal be activated for your group. And we will send you a response with patient portal instructions and instructions for your patients as well. So we'll give you instructions on how to use the patient portal, how to activate it for each individual patient, and then instructions that you can actually print out and give to your patients that will help them register with the portal, log in, and access the documents and send you messages through the portal messaging center. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at the portal before we go into the program. We have the patient portal here. It's patientonlineportal.com. Your patients will log in after they've registered. They'll put in their username and password. So I'm going to log in as a test patient. So they'll sign into the portal, and they can go into their history to look at any medical records, any CCDAs that have been uploaded into the portal. Okay, this is part of the patient portal feature. They can view the document. Here it is. Here's a summary of their visit with all of the details. Okay. They can download this document or transmit it. Okay. They can also view the access log. They'll be able to see how many times they've logged into the portal, what actions were taken, if they viewed a CCDA or transmitted it or downloaded it. That activity is kept in the log here, the access log. Another feature of the portal is the messages. This allows patients to both view messages in their inbox that you might have sent to them through ICANotes, and I'll show you how that works. They can also create messages, and they'll have a history of all the messages that they've sent. So let me see here. I'm going to create a new message. Okay. I'm just going to type in anything here. They'll choose you as the clinician to send the message to, and they'll type in their message to you. Okay. They'll send that message from the portal. It's in their sent folder here. It tells us the document was successfully sent to the doctor. Okay. When you log into ICANotes, open up my account here. When you go into your messaging center, there is a new section of the messaging center called Patient Portal. Okay, when you click on the Patient Portal, you're going to see any messages that your patients have sent to you. You'll be able to reply to that message. Okay. I can open that message here. I can reply to it. Okay. And when you send that message to the patient and they log into the portal, let me refresh my screen here. They're going to see those messages that you've sent to them. So this is a nice way to communicate with your patients through the portal. Again, you need to ask us if you want this feature activated. You need it activated for meaningful use. But the rest of our demonstration is going to be walking you through how to create a new patient chart, what information needs to be documented in your evaluation notes, your progress notes, to receive the meaningful use credit for stage 2. The first thing you'll want to do when you log into your ICANotes account is to make sure under Settings and Directories, when you come into Settings and Directories under Specific to Individual, go under your Options tab. There are 2 rules that you have to have activated in order for meaningful use to calculate 2 measures for you correctly. Okay. The first 2 checkboxes here, Show Clinical Decision Support Rules and Show Patient Education Materials. You have to have these boxes checked in order for that information to show up when you compile a note for you to get credit for those particular measures. So that's the very first thing you want to do, is to make sure that those features are turned on for your account. Okay. Let's go ahead and make a new chart. And I'm going to point out and draw attention to the areas that are important to document for meaningful use. So I'm just going to make up a test patient. When you set up a brand new patient chart, of course you have the regular red required fields you need to populate. Okay. There are some additional pieces of demographic information that you have to capture for meaningful use, and we've put asterisks next to the demographics that are required for the demographics measure. Okay, so ethnicity, we can put that in. Race, we can put that in. Okay. This is also where you're going to activate the patient portal for a patient. In order to be able to successfully activate the portal, you'll also need to include a social security number for the patient and an email address, because as soon as you activate the portal using this checkbox, it's going to send them a welcome email with instructions for registering. So you'll go ahead and activate the portal using this checkbox. This is telling the program, I want this patient to be able to log into the portal, access their clinical records, and use that portal messaging system. Oops, I need to assign myself to the chart. That makes sense. Let me go ahead and do that. Okay, and now the portal's been activated. This patient will get an email with the instructions, and they'll have access to the portal. It's also important under the Other Contacts tab to record the patient's preferred method of communication. This comes in later with the patient reminders. Okay. Once you've populated all of the required fields under demographics, I forgot one, preferred language. I'm going to go ahead and populate that here. All of the ones with the red asterisks here are important for meaningful use. You can go ahead when you're ready and save the chart. So it's requiring a zip code. Let me put something in here. Okay, so we've created a chart, populated demographic information. Let's see here. I showed you the instructions that you'll be able to print and hand to the patients. We will provide those to you as soon as we activate the patient portal for your account. Let's go ahead and open up a complete evaluation and look at the content that is important for meaningful use in the complete evaluation. Okay. I'm going to skip past any content that's not relevant to meaningful use, but of course you'll follow the basic workflow left to right through these tabs. I'm going to skip over to the medical history tab. And under medical history, there are a few things that we need to capture for meaningful use. We need to enter in the patient allergies. And to do that, I'll come down to the adverse drug reaction. Okay. And I can indicate no adverse drug reactions, or I can go into the list. And let's go ahead and populate one here. Okay. And I'll go ahead and put this information in using the new button. I'm going to say that she's allergic to penicillin. The reaction date is unknown, but she had a respiratory response, etc. Save that information and go back. Now, I could add many more in there, but this is giving me credit in the meaningful use report for allergies. The other piece of information I need to record under medical history is smoking status, which is under the health and behavior category. And when you click on tobacco, you're going to get a pop-up screen. You'll choose the appropriate tobacco use option here. Okay. If they've never used tobacco, you don't need a start and a stop date. If they have, you can put that in here. Okay, so that gives me credit for smoking status. Moving on, okay, the next area where you'll need to populate meaningful use information is under family history. And you'll see this new button here labeled Family History Entry. This is new for stage 2. Click on this button and you'll be able to add in as many family history entries as you'd like. Let's go ahead and add one in together so you can see what it looks like. Okay. We give you some written instructions here. First, enter the condition that you're searching for and search for it in the menu, or you can browse through this menu. I'm just going to choose one here. Okay. Once you've decided or you've selected the condition, you'll select the relationship, the family member here, and then you'll submit that entry. Okay. You can always go back and modify that if you need to, or remove it if you made a mistake. You can add in as many as you'd like, and when you're done, you'll go back. Now, this is also something that you can capture under demographics. If you go under demographics, under the Other Contacts tab, Family Contacts, there's also a family history entry button here if you wanted to capture that when you're creating the patient chart. Okay, both of those, whichever area you enter them under, will give you the appropriate credit in the meaningful use report. Okay. The next thing we're going to look at is under the mental status exam. We need to record vital signs. Okay. And to do that, we'll use this constitutional/vital signs button. Okay. And we need to enter the vitals that have the red asterisks next to them. Okay, so I could put in this information. It'll calculate BMI if the height and weight is entered. And that's going to give us credit for vitals here. Okay. Let's move on to the Finish Initial tab. There are a few things that we need to populate here. First, you'll be using the Dr. First e-prescribing, which will cover the grounds for the e-prescribing measure. You'll enter in new medications via e-prescribe. So you'll go to e-prescribe, connecting you to the Dr. First system. I'm just going to put in any medication here. Since this is a brand new patient, it's going to prompt me to enter in the allergies. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put in that penicillin allergy. And I can put in a reaction, whatever it may be, and add that in. Okay, that's the only allergy. I'm done with allergies. It's also going to prompt me for the pharmacy information because it's a brand new patient. I'm just going to find any old pharmacy here. Okay, and I'm going to prescribe a medication from my favorites list. Okay, so that prescription was sent to the pharmacy. I'm going to go back to ICANotes. I've prescribed the medication. Okay, so that gives me credit for the e-prescribe. The second thing I'll do is over here on the right under the clinical order sheet. I'm going to order an imaging test and a lab test. And to do that, I'm going to go under the lab and imaging protocol. And I'm going to use the new order button to record the lab and the image test. So I'm going to order one lab. I'm just going to put anything in here. Let's order your lithium level, routine, once. I'm going to tell the program that this is a lab type. Okay, you can put in a diagnosis or a reason if you'd like, and then save. Okay, and then I'm going to order an imaging test. And let's just order CT scan once and record it as imaging and save. Okay, let's go back. Let's go back again here. The next thing I'll need to do is to perform the medication reconciliation, which is this button right here. Okay. This has changed slightly. The screen looks a little bit different, but now we have areas for you to reconcile medications, adverse drug reactions, and the diagnosis, the problem list. You'll follow the numbered sections here. Put in your initials and the date after you've reconciled the list. So here are the medications being taken at the time of admission or transfer. You can fill out the details here. The patient was the source of the information. I could put in details, reason for prescribed, reason for changed, my initials for entering it. Okay, I could put in the medication, all the instructions here, when the patient started taking this medication, when they took the last dose, the last date it was prescribed, whether it's over-the-counter or a prescription. And then you tell the program, oops, I forgot status here. I'm going to say that this is active. You could tell the program whether you want the patient to continue but change, or stop this medication. Okay. Do you want to validate and stop this medication? Yes, I do. Any medications you've ordered will be in the second column. And then step 3 is to click here to reconcile the two lists. Okay, and then any current medications would show up here. You would put your initials down here at the bottom, put the date. We reviewed and reconciled these today. You could do the same thing for adverse drug reactions. It's the same workflow, just different for adverse drug reactions and the diagnoses. When you're done, you'll return to the progress note. That will give you credit for medication reconciliation. Okay, I'm going to put in a diagnosis here so we get, I'm going to put in an anxiety diagnosis so we get some prompts. Put in anything here. Okay, so of course you would fill in all the blanks here. I'm just highlighting the areas that are important for meaningful use. You would come down and compile the note. Okay. And this is where the program is going to prompt you to print the patient education resources that are available for any new problem, lab results, or medications that you prescribed. In this case, it picked up the anxiety problem or diagnosis, and we need to actually follow through and print this information to get credit for patient education materials. So I would say, yes, I would like to view the resources, and yes, I need to print this information. You always want to make sure that you show patient education material in the future. If you check no, it's going to uncheck that box that we activated in settings and directories, and you're going to be missing out on these prompts when you compile your notes. So you always want to keep these prompts activated. You need to actually print the material and hand it to the patient. Okay. If you just say continue without printing, it's not going to give you the credit. So you do need to print it for the credit. Okay. Here's another one for, this is the clinical decision support rule for the penicillin allergy. Okay, and we can go ahead and view that information and continue. Okay. Let's see. That covers the content in the initial assessment. Let's go back to the chart. Okay. The other pieces to the puzzle, I'm going to go ahead and record in a prescriber's progress note. So we're going to record the lab result and imaging results for the lab and image test that we ordered. I'm going to open up a progress note as a prescriber. Okay. On progress note part 1, in the left column, I'm going to come down to the section that says enter test results. Okay. I'm going to use the new button to record a new test. And let's go ahead and enter in the lithium level. Here we go. And I'm going to enter in the result. All of these fields are populated. I'm going to go ahead and save this result. So that's going to reconcile the meaningful use measure for test results. And then let's record the imaging result here. And you could just type into this field normal or whatever the case may be. Okay. And save that result. There we go. Let's go back. Now keep in mind, if you wanted to record smoking status in the progress note, you could do that under behavior using the tobacco use button here. So you can also record that and get credit for that in the progress note as well. And same with drug reactions. Now I want to point out something about drug reactions because it is next to the side effects button, and you do see this none button. Side effects and the none button don't have anything to do with meaningful use. The drug reactions button is what you need to click on if you want to get meaningful use credit for entering allergies into the program. So when you click drug reactions, you're telling the program, I'm reviewing the adverse drug reaction list for this patient. If there's nothing new to record, then you'll just click back, and it's going to put a statement in your note that says adverse drug reactions were reviewed and no changes were reported. You get credit in the meaningful use report. So this none button is for side effects. If you want to tell the program that you reviewed drug reactions, no changes were reported, click on the drug reactions button, and simply review the information and go back. Of course, if you have new information to put in here, go ahead and do that. Okay. You can also record vital signs in the progress note. Okay. But let's continue on to progress note part 2. We're going to go ahead and create a referral. And to do that, we're going to go under the clinical order sheet. So this page, as you know, looks identical to the Finish Initial tab. I'm going to go back into the clinical order sheet. If I had new labs to order, I could do that. But I'm going to click on the referral/consult button, and I'm going to make a new referral and fill out the details. I can put in information from the chart. I can type in my own details here. Who am I referring to? I can put in a provider from my list, or I can type in a provider, and then you'll go ahead and save the referral. Okay. So the program recognizes that you've made a referral for this patient. Let's go back. Okay. When you make a referral, you have to send a summary of care record to the provider that you're referring to. Okay, and you have to do that electronically. Let's go back here and let's say that we're done with this note. We compile this note, and after you've compiled the note, you want to go ahead and create a clinical summary. Let's go ahead and do that. Actually, let me go back. Before I create the clinical summary, I want to show you something on the compile note page of this progress note. Once you finish the note, in the upper right corner here, the date the summary was sent to the provider, you're going to go ahead and populate the date that you sent that referring provider a summary, the clinical summary. And if you sent it electronically, you need to check off this box to get credit. Okay. When you're using the patient portal, we're automatically sending them their patient summary, so you're automatically getting credit for those clinical summaries for the patient. But for the provider, for the referring provider, you actually do need to record the date you sent the summary to the provider, and if you send it electronically, to get credit for that. And of course, you could go in and create a clinical summary, choose what information's on that clinical summary, and compile it. Okay. We do give you a way to send a referring provider a direct email that's secure. They just have to have a direct email address. So when you go to the patient's chart and you look under their Documents tab, okay, you're going to see the CCDA, okay, and the clinical summary. When you click on View this document, there's a button here, and I opened up the clinical summary. It says Send via Direct Secure Email. When you click on this button, it opens up a window, and it gives you some instructions here. It says the file will be sent as an attachment via the encrypted Direct Secure Email protocol from noreply@direct.icanotes.com. If the intended recipient does not support the direct protocol, so they have to have direct dot in their email address, the email will not be sent. So if they don't have a direct email address, you won't be able to use this method for getting the information to them electronically. You'll have to find another way to do that securely. Okay, but we do give you this method to send the information electronically if that provider has a direct email address. Okay, but again, you will still need to record on the compiled note for that progress note the date that you sent that to the provider and that you sent it electronically. Okay. So we've looked at creating a new chart, activating the portal, the information that you need to populate in both an initial assessment and a follow-up progress note. And I think we've covered all the bases as far as the measures go. So let's go ahead and look at the Meaningful Use Report. So I'm going to click on the Reports drop-down menu in the upper left corner, and I'm going to click on the Meaningful Use Measures Report. Keep in mind...
I think, did you do reminders?
Oh, you know what? I didn't. Thank you, Sandy.
Sure.
Let's go back here. Let's go back to that patient's chart. one thing I forgot is patient reminders. To create a new reminder for a patient, there's a reminders button in the chart face in the lower right quadrant here. It says reminders. It's got a little asterisk next to it indicating it's a meaningful use requirement. Okay. And you can set up reminders for anything that's appropriate for that patient. So when I click this new button, I need to tell the program that the type of reminder that I'm creating is a patient reminder, okay, which counts in the meaningful use report in the denominator. And you're going to, you can send the reminder to whomever in your office who's going to perform this. It could be you as the doctor or a member of your staff. And you can set a date for when the reminder's due. And you'll type in subject as a reminder, call patient to get the lithium level. Whatever the reminder is. And you'll go ahead and save that reminder. Okay. On that due date, whoever the reminder is set up to be sent to, they'll get a message in their messaging center reminding them to complete this task. Okay. And when they do complete the task, in order to get credit for completing this reminder, for accomplishing and completing this task, they will have to click on the reminder and tell the program that, yes, I completed this reminder, I contacted the patient, okay, and this was the date that I did so. Okay, and that will give you credit in the meaningful use report. Okay. Not just setting up the reminder, you have to follow through and tell the program, yes, we contacted the patient on this date. Okay. And that gives you credit for reminders. Let's go back here. Okay, so now I believe I've covered all of the information, all of the areas that are relevant to meaningful use. So let's go ahead and look at the meaningful use report. You can run this report outside of normal business hours. We do disable this report 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time, so that it does not cause any disruption during normal business hours because it is very taxing on our servers. So whenever, before or after that time, you'll go ahead and open up the Meaningful Use Measures report. Select the stage that you're attesting to. I'm going to stay under Meaningful Use Stage 2. Put in the clinician's name, the attestation period. Okay. If you just want to spot check, which you feel free to run the report for all the measures if you want to get an overall view of how you're doing. However, this can take several minutes to load. So it is sometimes a little bit easier and more convenient just to go down the list and spot check some of the measures that you know you need to improve your threshold for, your percentage for. So if we click on one of these here, I'm going to click Go next to Vitals, for example. Okay. It's going to give me the results for that particular measure. Okay. It shows you each part of that measure if it's a multi-part measure, and it shows you your numerator, your denominator, and the percentage compared to what the required threshold is. And if it's in the red, that means you need to do some additional work to improve your percentage to match or exceed the threshold so that you can get credit for that measure. Okay, there's an explanation here of what the numerator represents and what the denominator represents. It's also explained in great detail in the Meaningful Use Guide. Okay. So you can run this report, you can print it out with your results at the end of the attestation period. But it's nice to be able to spot check and see how you're doing throughout the reporting period. Clinical quality measures, this report is going to be disabled. At the end of the attestation period, sometime after December 31st, all of the groups who have requested their clinical quality measures results, we are going to email those to you. You just have to let us know that you would like us to run this report for you and send you the results at the end of the attestation period. and we are actually going to run that report for you and send you the information. Okay, you don't need to worry about tracking your progress for clinical quality measures. You just need to report on them. Even if you report zeros, as long as you're reporting on them, you'll get credit for the clinical quality measures.